Chapter 29. Leah. Leah lowered herself onto the hard dirt floor of the small cottage. Her eyes lingered on Adam's peaceful face as he slept soundly in his bed, nestled under layers of warm blankets. They were back home in the cabin once more. Waiting for what? She didn't know. She had returned here in a panic, seeking shelter from whatever chaos was consuming the world outside. But as the days passed, she realized she didn't know what she was waiting for. Maybe for the authorities to arrive and bring order to this madness, or perhaps for someone, anyone, to come and help her survive this nightmare. Maybe even Ben. It was hard for her to admit, but she needed his help. They were alone, stranded in darkness without power or any connection to the outside world, just as Ben had warned her. With the dwindling food supply, she couldn't muster the courage to leave Adam behind and make a trip to town. She refused to subject him to the city's horrors once more, the destruction and chaos that had overtaken it. All she could think about was the bundle of fabric lying on the street during their last visit. How she made Adam lower his head and not look up at all costs. Inside the bundle was the lifeless body of a young boy. A boy not much older than Adam. She couldn't deny it any longer. Fear coursed through every inch of her body. She made a mistake by hiding from Ben. Foolish. He was one of the decree, and he had promised to protect her and Adam. They were his family. Why, oh why, did she not believe him? And now, here, she faced the harsh reality of running out of food, potentially freezing to death with her little boy over winter. Their survival over the harsh winter months was at stake. She had tried so hard to go out into the woods. They trudged through the dense forest, their feet sinking into the soft soil with each step, desperately hoping to come across a haven or someone who could help her and Adam. But all they found were towering trees and the occasional rustle of a wild animal. She thought back to the day when the dog came, startled by a sudden loud bark echoing through the woods. She'd grabbed Adam's arm in fear, and they both ran away from a small dog that appeared out of nowhere, their clothes getting torn by branches as they fled. The adrenaline pumping through her body gave her the strength to keep going until they finally reached a clearing where they could catch their breath and assess the situation. She didn't bother checking if someone safe was with the dog. No, not after hearing that crackle of twigs in the bushes. The risk was too much for her to take. Her fear was the problem. She was always afraid, and now she was terrified that something bad would happen to Adam if she didn't find someone, anyone, to help her and her boy. She needed others to help protect him and make sure that this crazy world didn't suck them both up and then spit their bones out, leaving them lying on the road, just like the body of the last boy she'd seen. She sobbed, pressing her head against her bent knees, hugging them tight to her chest, tearful and defeated. What had happened to Amanda? What had happened to everyone she knew? Where were the police, soldiers, anyone? Why were they still living in this world turned upside down? Her nose ran with snot as tears streamed down her face. It was hopeless. The crushing weight of defeat weighed heavily on her, and she despised herself for it. Ben was right. She was nothing without him. Nothing without his help. She took a deep, quivering breath, sucking back the tears and snot. Why hadn't she waited? The little dog was friendly, jumping all over Adam with excitement. Maybe the person in the bush would have been friendly too. But then again, maybe not. Leah thought of Ben's last words to her. A warning. If she wanted to prevent anything from happening to Adam, it would be in the best interest for her to take responsibility for their son and join the decree. What did he mean by that? There'd been a note sitting on the counter waiting for her on their return to the cabin. She and Adam had taken off, ill-equipped for the harsh elements and the wild surroundings. Being the fool, thinking she would find someone soon. They found themselves sleeping on the ground, with little to no food. Of course, she had to turn back, and of course, Ben knew she would. There, on the counter, was a note, written in his handwriting, revealing everything. The coordinates that would enable her to find him and bring the boy to a place that was safe. She ignored it, crumpling it up and then throwing it into the garbage can, before the cold came and the power remained. But she dug it out soon enough. When each can of food was depleted and no other replaced it, she had dug it out right away, unraveling it and smoothing it out flat, memorizing every word, sealing the directions into her brain. Adam lifted his head from his pillow. Leah hastily wiped her tears away. The boy was frightened enough. He didn't need to see the only person responsible for him losing it.
Are you crying? Why are you crying, Mama?
Rubbing his tired eyes, he sat up and clutched his blankie, fearful of the darkness. A faint, metallic clinking sound reached Leah's ears, and Adam pulled out the little orange truck he had hidden under his pillow, safe and sound. His little fingers clutched around it always, like a safety blanket.
No, I'm okay, baby. I'm okay. Go back to sleep.
She reached out her hand to caress his forehead, feeling the dampness of sweat. Gently, she tucked him back under the covers, the little orange truck snug under his chin, his small fingers holding onto it tightly.
I'm hungry, Mama. Can I have some toast with cinnamon?
His voice rose in excitement, but Leah didn't have cinnamon or bread.
Oh, sweetheart, there's no bread at the grocery store, remember? I told you.
Adam's face contorted into a frown.
But I have some soda crackers, and I may have some peanut butter still left. Would you like something like that?
Leah tried to sound cheery. Realizing there was barely any peanut butter and only a few crackers left, she knew their food supply wouldn't last more than a few days, let alone a week. There was no more fresh water left. The taps had stopped functioning soon after they had returned to the cabin, leaving her with no other options but to boil lake water on an open fire for basic needs. She was beyond dire straits. Recognizing the truth, she accepted the harsh reality they were facing.
Okay, Mama, I'll have some crackers, but I'll only have 2 with peanut butter, because I want some more in the morning.
Adam? She said, her tone filled with resignation.
You can have as many as you want. You could have them all.
She tried to sound confident and composed, but her voice betrayed her true emotions. Fear.
Tomorrow, you and I are going to go on a big journey. A journey?
His eyes lit up with excitement as he clutched the rusty orange truck in his small hands. Adam loved that truck. Who knew that day in the grocery store when the tall stranger with long black hair handed it to him? From that moment on, it would be his favorite toy. Whenever Adam felt scared, he would hold on to that truck tightly, and a sense of calm would wash over him. It was his anchor, keeping him grounded and safe amidst his fears.
Where, Mama?
Well, we're going to see Daddy.
Daddy?
Yes, we're going to go see Daddy, and we're going to have a little talk with him. I know he'll have lots and lots of cinnamon toast for you to have.
I don't care about having cinnamon toast with Daddy.
Leah's heart wrenched, and she ran her fingers through her boy's silky hair. No, you don't, do you?
Nah.
He shook his head, running the beat-up truck along the edges of his comforter. The worn wheels squeaked and clanked against the fabric, but he didn't seem to notice as he hummed engine noises. Well, we're still making the journey tomorrow, so you can have your crackers and your peanut butter. In the morning, we'll eat up the last of them and then pack up what we need and go see Dad.
Are you sure, Mama? I really don't like those men Daddy was with when we played hide-and-seek in the cupboard. They scared me.
Leah's heart beat. They scared her too. Was she doing the right thing? Or was she walking herself into a trap? But what was she supposed to do? Adam was on the brink of going hungry. Something she never imagined in her life she would have to worry about. She had to do something. She had to. This was the last straw. It was a matter of survival. Ben promised to protect her and their son. She was still his wife. Leah couldn't stand by and let Adam go hungry. Ben wouldn't want them to be starving. He wouldn't want his son to be without food. He was a lot of things, but he couldn't possibly be a monster. Leah's mind raced. Was she just trying to make herself feel better? Maybe, but it didn't matter anymore. Tough times meant tough decisions, and her mind was made up. She had to protect Adam at all costs, and if that meant she would have to crawl back to Ben and beg for his help for their son's sake, she would do it. She rose to her feet, feeling like she had done something, anything, to change the situation at hand, even if it was something she wasn't sure was a good idea.
Mama, keep the crackers for the trip tomorrow.
Adam spoke, already burrowed back under his covers. He nestled his head against the pillow and pulled the blankets up to his chin.
I'm going to eat tomorrow. I don't need anything tonight.
Leah felt her heart twist. She hadn't realized how much their situation had affected him. He shouldn't have to worry about food for the next day or erasing his mother's fears. The role shouldn't be reversed. She was the mother, the parent, not Adam. He should sleep safely in the comfort of his home, a carefree kid again, playing with his beloved toy truck and not saving food to eat.
But you said your belly is hungry,
Leah said, hating herself even more for hoping that Adam meant it and they could keep the crackers for tomorrow.
I'm okay, Mama. I'm just tired. I'm gonna go to sleep now.
Leah snuggled up behind him, draping her arms around his slight frame, and pulled him close. Adam's unwashed hair tickled her nose as she breathed in the musky scent of dirt from days without a proper bath. She hadn't bathed for days either. The lake was starting to be too cold, and warming the water for drinking was work enough in one day.
I love you, Adam. Mommy will do anything to protect you. Always. I know, Mama,
the boy said, his words muffled as he drifted off to sleep. Leah pressed her cheek against him, feeling the strands of his unkempt hair. She kissed the back of his head, not willing to let him go. She would do anything for this boy. Anything at all. And right now, she knew she needed to make sure that he was safe, that he had food, warmth, and a roof over his head for protection. As the sun rose, Leah carefully packed the remaining food and freshly boiled water into sturdy containers and wrapped them in thick blankets. She stuffed everything into large backpacks, along with some old sleeping bags she found in the musty attic. Leah loaded it all into Adam's red wagon, layering them both with extra clothing to keep them warm, even though it wasn't even fall yet. It was cooler than normal for this time of year. She took one last look around the empty cabin, the only place she ever felt was home. Would she ever come back here? She let memories of her childhood in this place, her parents, and the years since Adam was born flood in. Leah hesitated, clutching her 3-year-old son's hand tightly as they stood before the wagon packed with all their belongings. She couldn't help but feel a sense of guilt and failure as they left behind everything they knew, heading towards the Decree compound and Ben.